Today on the show, we bring back Left on Red. Yay, finally. But also somebody on the show has been left on red, and it isn't me because I'm married. So it's a good story. We'll get to it next.
Don't forget, I have some art to show you.
Oh, I can't wait. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Back in studio. Jax is back from London.
I'm back, baby.
And has stories and artwork to share with us.
Yeah, I do. I was on an adventure. I didn't see the sun for 11 days.
I know, but so apparently it was that you just happened to be there. I mean, it's always rainy season in the British Isles, but it had been sunny, and then you got there and it rained the whole time.
It rained the entire time that I was in London, and then I went to Ireland for 5 days.
Where it rains even more.
It rained even more, and it was cold. It was cold there, but I was like in like the farmland. I was in like rural Ireland, and it was because it's rainy, but at least it's beautiful. When it rains in Toronto, you're like, God, I'm looking at Young and Dundas, and it's raining, you know. But there, it's
what's
pretty.
a harder accent to understand? Rural Newfoundland or rural Ireland?
Newfoundland, I think.
Yeah.
Like when I was there, I was comforted because the pace in which people talk sounds like home, sounds like Nova Scotia, so it's a lot faster. And I don't have as hard of a time understanding Irish accents, like some of the really, really thick ones maybe, but they just sound like a deeper version of Cape Breton.
Right, because it's as Irish and Scottish immigrants that made it all up, right? Yeah,
but it was beautiful. I love Ireland. I love London. And I love you, and I'm back.
We're so glad to have you back. So listen, the artwork you have, you bought a piece of artwork. Where did you buy it? Which IKEA?
So Adam, it's just in an IKEA frame, okay? Okay, so I went to Spitalfields Market, which is in Shoreditch in London, and it was like this big open air market. It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I saw an artist, and I loved his work because I love things with faces that shouldn't have faces.
Right.
So look at this.
Oh, wow. Are those,
it's me and you. It's me and you. Look, yeah. Look, that's you and that's me. We're holding hands. Adam.
Why did you get, okay, so these are two trees.
Yeah, holding hands.
Who aren't even really smiling. They look like surprised to be holding hands, and their hands are pom-poms. It's like they're branches.
They're clearly the shrub of the tree, yeah.
And Big Al was did you meet Big Al?
I did.
The person who signed their name on?
He is the artist, and he was also selling his own art. So I got this, and I think that there's a bit of sexual tension between the trees.
You think so?
I think so. What do you think?
To me, it looks like they're lost and they're looking for directions.
I think they look a bit mischievous, and that reminds me of me and you. I got it.
I love
beautiful, right?
I love it. No, it's
gorgeous. Great. Okay, so that's the art. That's the piece I bought.
But people have been wondering, hey, where's Left on Red? And Left on Red is back today.
So
later on the show, it's about 20
excited.
minutes from now. So I just want you to know that it's happening. 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is. I don't know.
Time is a social construct.
But Jax, you have a story.
Yep.
Because you, Jax, were left on red. Come on.
I had it coming. I think karma
why
is
did you
real.
have it coming?
Because we've been running a show segment called Ghosted or Left on Red for the past 6 years.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we've been talking about other people getting ghosted so hard. One of us is bound to get ghosted. You're married.
Yep.
So you're not going to get ghosted, hopefully. Knock on wood.
I'm hoping not. Yeah.
But yeah, I was ghosted. I was left on red in London by a beautiful woman who I've never met.
So what happened?
Okay, so we had anyways, we were supposed to go on a date.
Sure.
One of the days that I was there, like earlier on in my trip, we're going to go for dinner and go out for dinner. And then she was cool. I was like, I'm going to be in town. Do you want to grab, a drink or some whatever with a random Canadian? And then she was like, absolutely. And she was saying, let's like do dinner, do something fun where like we can chill and get to know each other. And so we set up a dinner on one of the days. And then the day before we were supposed to go out, she messaged me and she's like, hey, I actually have to work. But are you free on the weekend?
So that's good manners.
That's very good manners. And she gave me like a heads up. She apologized. Super sweet. Mm-hmm. And I gave you the heads up. And I was like, unfortunately, because I was, going to be going to a show and I had plans on the weekend with a friend who was in town in London. I was like, I can't. And obviously time is limited when you're on a trip. So I said, why don't we maybe if we can, before we recorded the podcast on the Sunday, let's go out. And we ended on that. We're like, if Sunday can work, Sunday works. She messages me the next day, the day that we were supposed to go out the Wednesday, and said, actually, long story short, I didn't have to work. So, I'm free now. Mm. And so I messaged and said, okay, cool. Like, let's go ahead with the original plan and go have dinner. And she never messaged me back. She was never, and I was like, and then because I reread it because
you
I
were
was like,
truly left on red.
I was literally left on red. Or maybe she didn't, she's read it. But I was like, maybe did I misunderstand? Was she trying to say?
I hate that.
And I was like, did I say
that.
something weird? And then I like went over it and over and I was like, oh man. But she
said, do you want to go back out?
And she brought it back up, right?
Yeah.
We could have just left it. And so I was absolutely perplexed. And then I was like, well, it's got to be my fault. So I was looking over the message and to see, and I don't think I misunderstood anything.
No, it's not your fault.
And since then, she's like liked my posts and like, so I don't know what I did wrong, but she didn't want to hang out. She didn't want to hang out, and she's, you know what? She's beautiful and busy. It sounds like so. Yeah.
And no, she likes your post though.
She liked my about my. I posted this thing. Even I posted like about my trip, like a bunch of pictures.
See, I can't tell if this is someone who is like socially anxious and gets cold feet, or if this is someone that is so into the ghosting culture that it's like, because what it is that what I find really striking about the way you tell that story is your instant thought is it must have been something I did.
Yeah,
which
of course.
How could it? Stephanie's listening to this too. How could it possibly be something you did?
But,
you were available. She changed the plan, and then you were unavailable.
Was
and
I
she's
too
like,
available?
actually, no,
Yeah.
no, Jax, you're there for a week. What do you mean too available? Here's my day. This is my day. You get one day. And then she makes the thing, and then you're like, well, I better go back through and analyze the entire conversation to make sure that this was for sure me, because I definitely think it was. No, this is where single Jax is got to recognize single Jax's value.
I am, and I never followed up. Listen,
well, no, and I'm glad you didn't.
I didn't follow up.
And let her like your shit. That's great. She should like it. She would have liked you even better if she met you. But my point is, and Steph, maybe you can back me up on this one. The fact that you even thought that this could somehow be your fault, right? The fact that you even thought at one point, well, maybe it was me, right?
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to think.
Thank you.
You think it's a fair thing for her to think?
Yeah, I feel like I would have thought the same thing.
But don't you feel like that's what bothers me? Is like this person is doing it to you guys, and you guys are blaming yourselves.
But Adam, I feel like the natural disposition of a man on dating apps or like dating in the world and a woman dating in the world is very different. Like you're like,
yeah, that's probably true.
Like, and because also, how many stories have we heard of people on Left on Red who are like, you know, I've gone over it a ton of times in my head on what I could have done wrong and I can't understand. That's always their first thing. They're like, I've run through 1,000 scenarios in my head, and it's often a lot of like self-blame. But you know what? Not instantly, because obviously I thought it was my fault at first, but I quickly realized I was like, I don't know the answer to this, and I don't have the time to care. I don't have the time to care.
You.
And you know what? I think that I think she's probably just busy, and I don't think it was that deep, and she seems lovely, and we don't live in the same part of the world, and maybe we'll cross paths one day, but if not, she seems lovely. So yeah.
Maybe she'll see this and then like give
Maybe
you an
she shouldn't see
explanation.
this. Maybe
And she'll be like, I'm coming to Canada.
Listen,
We're
you're
doing
lying.
that date.
I
want her to see this. I hope you see this. I hope you see this.
She seems lovely, and she's just very busy. So and that's okay.
You missed a good opportunity with a really good one.
That's
is my
very
point.
good. Adam pushed me to talk about this because he likes me vulnerable. And I like when you make me vulnerable.
This is a good story because people can relate to this, right? Like this happens all the time.
Even this tall, agile body gets ghosted. Okay, never forget.
Shocking
never
as it
forget.
is. By the way, you're gonna have so many people going, I wouldn't ghost you in the comments. Jax, I wouldn't ghost you.
Adam, I wouldn't ghost you.
Okay, so there's a couple things we're going to talk about today. Sydney Sweeney bath soap, which is an older story. Sabrina Carpenter album art, newer story, and how they sort of relate to each other. And then, of course, I want to talk to you about Jeff Bezos' prenup.
Oh, for God's sakes, yeah.
That I think is, I think that's worth kind of mentioning. You know, the richest man in the world, or one of the richest men in the world, has to get a prenup. Of course they do. So we'll start with the Sydney Sweeney soap and the Sabrina Carpenter album art. Now, these are two completely unrelated separate things, but it's worth mentioning them both because they are, by today's terms, a bit of a shock in terms of marketing, right? In the post-Me Too era. And just so anybody that doesn't know, the Sydney Sweeney or Sydney's Bathwater Bliss 5,000 bars of soap made available for purchase, $8 a piece. The soap made from pink bark extract, exfoliating sand, and droplets of Sydney Sweeney's bathwater went on sale, and they sold out within seconds. And the resale market for these soap bars afterwards on eBay were anywhere from $100 to $1,000 for just a bar of soap. And it's a really gross joke, but it's I would
drink your bathwater,
right? And that's so Sydney's like, all right, I'm going to take advantage of that. And
you want to drink it, you pay me.
You're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Then you get, and we can flash this picture, Sabrina Carpenter's album cover. Okay?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It comes after the release of Man Child, which is a song about like literally dating a man child, of which, I think I've been accused of many times, and it happens, right? But what both of these incidences have, because in Sabrina's picture, she's on all fours, he's grabbing her hair, and it sort of looks like that submissive sort of position, which we all know, right? We all know and love. And except Jax, who does not love that position. not so into that position.
Sorry, I'm a little bit lost here. It's hot. Yeah, I don't like to be on my knees for a man often. Surprise, as my general disposition would indicate.
Yes.
I'm not often on my knees for a man, and I don't want to be. But I'm glad that I'm sorry, it's hot, man. So, this album cover is hot.
So there are people that are looking at this. There's two ways essentially to look at this. And I wanted to get you guys' opinions on this, because obviously I have mine. But I'm curious about so you got people online saying, this has set women back.
It's regressive.
This is regressive. Yeah. This is whatever. But the other side of it is, this is two strong, powerful, extraordinarily successful women.
Yeah.
Like the two people online, I think that no one can be normal about are Sabrina Carpenter and Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
Right?
Really divisive. Yeah.
Crazy. No. And what I mean by that is people are like howling at the moon with these women, right? Like they're very, very good at selling sort of there's a sexualized version, but it's not like the Pamela Anderson sexualized version that we grew up with, where it's like, oh, she's kind of a dumb blonde with big boobs, which she never was, but that's what they were selling in the 90s. Yeah. These two are doing it with sort of a wink and a nod. Like they seem to be, Sabrina Carpenter specifically, this is a comedy to me. Like that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be ironic and funny. And Sydney Sweeney is very clearly like, I'm going to market I'm a bombshell. I'm going to be making as much money off being a bombshell as I possibly can. Yeah. Because there's a window, right? There's a bombshell window, and then, you're not a bombshell anymore.
Yeah, if you want to obsessively sexualize me, then I'm going to monetize it.
Right, and I'm going to do it with a sense of humor.
Absolutely.
So I was curious to get your thoughts on this. Stephanie, specifically, I know you're a huge Sabrina Carpenter fan.
Sabby Carp.
And I wanted to get what you guys thought of this as women who are, absorbing this. Because as a guy, like, I don't look at this and go, oh, this turns me, like, no disrespect, but it's not like Sydney Sweeney's bathwater turns me on. She's obviously hot and gorgeous, but I'm not buying the soap. I'm just curious, like, what you guys think of this. How does this land for you?
I think if you know Sabrina Carpenter and you know like her previous history of like how she's doing all the Juno positions at her concerts, and like the way she's using like her sexualized image as like monetization and comedy, and like kind of just turning it back on the men who are sexualizing her. Like this is just, it's the perfect ironic like album art that's she knows it's gonna make people talk,
which it does,
and she's also just like, kind of calling it what it is, but like turning it in a way where she's like, I'm doing it for myself, like this way, and like you can all say whatever you want. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, 100%. It's interesting. She said, I'm not the one who's obsessed with sex.
Yeah.
She said, you guys are the ones who are obsessed with sex, because the only videos from my concerts that go viral are when I jokingly hint at the Eiffel Tower position or the Juno, whatever, the wobbly H, whatever you want to call it. She said, I have ballads. Yeah. I have, dance songs. I have songs that are empowering, whatever. And she said, but those ones are the ones that go viral. So what she's doing, or at least in her mind, is if that's what you guys are into, I'm going to give you more of that. What do you think, Jax?
I think it's powerful. And I think it's like a reclamation move. Like it's like she's, and obviously, I mean, if you're looking at this sort of unbiasedly, like it's a submissive position, like on her. And I think she is anything but submissive. And I think like reclaiming the submissive quote unquote positions as powerful, like especially in like, sub-dom culture, like this is hot, this is powerful. And like at the end of the day, she's seeing how people, sort of view her online. It's kind of like you said, a wink and a nod to it. I think she knows exactly what she's doing, and all the power to her. Like she's a powerful boss, and I like that. And I think her being on her knees is she's anything but on her knees in the music business, right?
Well,
I say fuck it. I love her.
And most of the Jack Antonoff, who does a lot of writing with Taylor Swift and does a lot of writing with Sabrina, said most of the lyrical content is about disappointment in relationships. And all the different shapes that it takes. He said, I think it's a celebration of those who let you down.
Yes, yeah.
And ultimately, as you get older, those who let you down are the greatest lessons, right?
Absolutely.
And
the greatest gifts too.
100%. That's where you can draw a lot of inspiration. I mean, God, Taylor Swift's made a whole career of it, right? That's how you do it. I was just, because that's the way you guys are talking about it is sort of in my own rudimentary brain, like that's how I received it as well.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we've just come out of an era that was so totally different.
Yeah.
If this Sabrina Carpenter album cover had come out in 2021, or if the Sydney Sweeney bathwater thing had come out in 2021, I think it would have landed different.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is Trump being in the White House, and I don't think that's a good thing.
No.
I'll just be on the record and say that's not a good thing. But what we do have is this sort of gallows humor that's taking over, where it's different from before, and I compare it to Pamela Anderson again, where it's like, that was truly but she's a dumb blonde and she had to play that role. And then Paris Hilton, remember? She had to play the role of the dumb blonde because that's what sold, right? She talks about that. She changed her voice. She changed, everything, right? And it went so far that even her grandfather disinherited her. Right, she had to go make her own money, which
which she did.
Which she did.
But I think if you look, sorry.
I guess my point, and then I'll shut up, is more like I think that after like this post Me Too area that we live in, you can go there a little bit with the humor, but the women now are going to own it. Yeah, they're going to own their part in it.
And I think especially when it comes to Sabrina Carpenter's album cover, I think if you're looking at this saying, slut or weak or how could she, then you need to like be further analytical on your own, like how you view women in general.
How you view it as sort of a reflection of you.
And why is that weak to you? And why do you see that dynamic as her giving away her power? And why are you so judgmental or like critical of how women are presenting themselves?
Well,
so I think,
feminism, I don't think is supposed to be the locking away of your sexuality.
No.
It's supposed to be the freedom of it.
Exactly.
However you see that. So anyway, I just thought that conversation was so interesting because I was like, man, there is no way that half a decade ago this would have flown.
No.
And yet here we are and it works. Yeah. And it's not like it works a little.
Yeah.
These two marketing events, right, that are of our time are going to be things that we talk about 5 years from now. Is remember like the Paris Hilton broke the internet picture, which I thought was a little overblown at the time, to be honest with you. That was Paris. Kim Kardashian is what I meant. I think that this is going to be one of those moments. And it's crazy because it's like, it's just their absolute grand slam marketing.
Get it.
Now, when you're rich and you're getting married, a prenup, actually they recommend a prenup for anybody.
For anybody.
Yeah. And I would too. As a divorced person, I feel like I have an expert on the subject and I would recommend a prenup. It just makes things cleaner. It's not going to, it may not even save you money, but it actually just eliminates a lot of crap that you have to go through.
Yeah, procedure-wise,
when you
absolutely.
divorce,
yeah.
Because all of the stuff is decided beforehand rather than after. And so anybody that tells you, by the way, that you don't love them because you want a prenup is full of shit, don't marry that person. That's what I would say. I'd be like, you're going to change your opinion on that or we're not getting married. Yeah. Like it
has nothing to do with you.
It has nothing to do with what you think is going to happen in the relationship. I got news for people. Everybody goes into a marriage thinking it's going to last.
Yeah.
It just sometimes doesn't. And so Jeff Bezos has been divorced. Him and his wife, Mackenzie, built Amazon, and her involvement in it She raised 4 kids, that sort of thing too, right? So you get, the law looks at that and goes, that's part of this.
Yeah.
I think she was given like 5% of Amazon, and she's worth 130 or 140 billion dollars now because of it. And Jeff is now getting married, and so the prenup, they're saying, would primarily focus on his vast holdings acquired before his marriage and insulating those from any ownership by Miss Sanchez, Lauren Sanchez, during their marriage.
$223 billion he's estimated to be worth?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How is that even a real number?
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Ooh.
I remember like the richest people growing up, like were like, the IKEA guy is worth 40 billion and now it's 250
Will
billion.
Smith is,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
A common feature of this type of prenup is to say, according to legal experts, that no matter how much labor or work goes into any business asset, the acquisition remains entirely separate. This type of prenup can be challenging because of the need for complete and total disclosure. So essentially, you have to disclose all your
financial disclosure,
before you get married.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I am curious about one thing with this. Okay. So we're talking about the prenup, and we're talking about the money and whatever. I don't know what their relationship is like. I don't know what it's based on. Every relationship has, is different, and how you guys came together and that sort of thing. But part of being in a marriage is working as a team on each other's things.
Mm-hmm.
And what that sentence says essentially is, it doesn't matter what Lauren does for, say, remember they were up in space with Blue Origin. Doesn't matter what she does to promote that.
The gals trip.
It's still Jeff's, right?
Yeah.
And there is a provision in there for, hey, if we break up, here's how much money you're going to get.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, with wealth at that scale, does there come a point where you don't need a prenup anymore? Like for people like us, if you take, hundreds of thousands of dollars away from somebody in our income bracket, that is going to be life-changing amounts of money.
Yeah.
If you take hundreds of millions away from Jeff Bezos, that isn't going to change anything.
It's like, I can't make my rent now.
Well, he's worth, you said 200 billion, right? So if you took 10 billion, which is hundreds of millions, that will not change a single minute of his life.
And I feel like because his portfolio would be so diversified, he'd never have to be like even if he lost like 75% of his income, he could just go to a different well. You know what I mean? To get like, he would be like, well, I guess this tree's tapped. I'm going to go to the other money tree.
Right.
Like, you're at such I don't think money matters at that level.
I don't know how it could. I don't know what wouldn't you get bored?
This makes me hate him.
No. I'm not of the opinion that you should just hate people because they're billionaires.
No, it's not because of that.
But I do think that and I know that's not what you're saying. There's a lot of people out there who are very resentful, and I get it.
But when it comes to his prenup,
then when it comes to this, I was just trying to figure out, even if she takes half, he's worth 250 billion or something.
I would say go ahead, go girl. He's okay.
What's gonna happen? Actually, what's going to happen? And I know he earned it and he built it and whatever you wanted to say, but what would happen? What would change? What would he have to even sell?
Would he still be this first richest person in the world?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think he is right now. He might be.
Who is?
I think it was Elon for a bit.
Who is? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it's been Jeff and Elon and one of the guys from, I forget where the other guy is. But
the triplets.
Yeah. Zuckerberg's probably up there.
I think that they can just, I think at that level, you wouldn't need a prenup. It's we'll figure it out after. Because there's nothing really
I think maybe you're just avoiding a bunch of lawyers going back and forth for 20 years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm okay, I don't, maybe it's a function of not being super wealthy.
Because we can't even conceptualize. Yeah, we can't even conceptualize it. Though.
Yeah.
We're
I'm trying to figure out what amount of money do you have to take away from Jeff before he starts to feel pain?
I don't think there is a number, because I think when you're that, I think it would take, and how old is he?
He's in his 50s.
Yeah, he's 61.
Oh,
so
61,
I feel
okay.
like by the time, even if he had a tenth of the money, he'd be dead before he would even feel a hit.
I think it could be the principle of the matter. Being that rich, people are going to be your friend or date you just for your money.
Yeah, 100%.
So it could even just be the principle of the matter of just being maybe he obviously loves her and he wants to get married, but he's maybe she just wants me for my money and she's going to leave me like this. Like, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe that could be the reason for the prenup.
Yeah, no.
I feel like when you're that rich though, like if I was that wealthy, I'd be like, I'm too rich to fight. You know, I'd be like, I don't know, take it. Like, you know, I
think
know,
that's
like,
why people would say, well, that's why you're not rich. That's actually not true.
No.
There are plenty of rich people who just go, yeah, whatever, man. But it's an interesting thing, right? Because you just go, like, even $1 billion is so much money.
Yeah.
It's so much money. It's crazy.
Because he can't be like, you're not taking, you can't come for the little guy here. Like, he doesn't have that excuse. Like, oh, I'm so mad. You're not coming for me. It's like, he would obviously know how I have so little money in comparison to him that I can't even imagine the logistics of thinking about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, and I was watching a YouTube video once, and it was, I don't know where, you go those random YouTube rabbit holes or whatever.
Oh yeah,
and Jeff Bezos like clip came up, and he was talking about, like, everybody thinks that if I just copy what this rich person does in their day to day, like they drink a green smoothie at 8:30. If I drink a green smoothie at 8:30, I'm going to be wealthy. That's not true. When you talk to, like, when you listen to Mark Cuban talk about being a billionaire, there's some guys who are billionaires who think I got here because I'm the most brilliant person on earth. The reality of the situation is, because I think he was on Smartless, Mark Cuban, they said, how do you plan to be a billionaire? And he's like, you don't. He's like, you can't. It's just it's a function of luck. You're born in the right place, in the right era, you got the right education, and you had the right idea right at the time, in his case, when computers were taking off.
Yeah.
And then he bought a basketball team, and then he did all these other things that he did. And I kind of thought, I'm like, man, that's so interesting, because that's the most honest take on it that I've seen.
He's like, yeah, that's a humble, like, that's a very,
and like,
that's a humble take on it.
This Bezos clip was like, well, I don't like to do any meetings before 10 a.m. and I like to do this and whatever. And people were like, it's funny in the comments, people were like, oh, like, it's either Jeff Bezos is a god, or, yeah, well, you run your own company, so you can say that there's no meetings before 10 a.m. Most of us cannot do that.
Got to drink the nectar of the gods at 2:43 a.m.
Exactly. I
just realized that I'm sorry, I went into a bit of my own rabbit hole over here. I realized that if Jeff Bezos had a mustache, he would look like the Monopoly Man. Because he's often
he needs a monocle.
But he's often in a tuxedo. And I was like, you look like the Monopoly Man, little bald fellow.
Little top hat and a monocle.
Very wealthy Monopoly Man.
If he had a good sense of humor about himself, and I'm not sure if he does.
I have a feeling he doesn't.
He would dress like that for Halloween.
Yeah, like, that's funny.
You got to do that.
Get a little cane.
Yeah.
Get a little cane.
By the way, they say that guys like in his wealth strata, Elon, Jeff, some of these other guys, the scale of wealth is so big now that they have more money relative to what everybody else has than anybody in history.
That makes me feel crazy.
So, like, all the kings you can think of, all the emperors you can think of, the jewels and the horses and all that, that you think of, like the British Empire and the French Empire, the Spanish Empire, these big, colossus countries that took over half the world. And these guys have more money than, like, the kings and queens of those places. It's great, like, ever. It's insane. It's like
Don't make me depressed. Don't make me depressed, Adam. That's
and I turn into Comrade Jax here.
Better watch out. Better watch out. Better watch out. No, that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Like, it's unfathomable. You can't relate to it.
Here comes the cops.
Well, here come the cops. They heard about you. They're coming for you. They're like, oh, we heard you got ghosted. What's up?
Adam.
By the way, I do have to say, I respect the hell out of you for telling that story. And I hope that when this hits the internet, you get a message from that person going,
I hope I don't. I hope that they never hear about it, because it's very embarrassing.
Why is that? It shouldn't be embarrassing for you. It should be embarrassing for them.
No, I mean, I'm sure
they missed out on you. You look great.
But I'm sure that they have the reasons. But here's the thing, is that it's like, it's not very hip to get, I can get why people are afraid to come on Left on Red, because it's not very suave to get ghosted.
Speaking of,
listen, I'm very new to the dating world, so
we need to bring on Gavin for Left on Red.
God.
Gavin is a little bit confused, just like Jax was. Gavin is blaming himself.
Yep.
So let's do Left on Red. All right, let's welcome Gavin to Left on Red. Gavin just got out of a long-term relationship when Gavin met Sam, and they really hit it off. And now, just as suddenly as things started and they were great, it might be over. Isn't that right, Gavin? So Gavin, explain this to us.
Yeah, he just dropped me. I don't know what to do. I'm just kind of really hurt and I'm devastated.
Okay. This is a sad start, but you know what? We may get some hopeful answers. Like Adam said, though, you like long-term relationship. How long-term are we talking here?
Yeah, this one was at a heartbreaking for kind of different reasons. I think sometimes, it's over before it's over and you're just hanging around to see if it gets any better. And
Yeah.
it just never does. He ended up treating me pretty poorly and I hung around longer than I should have.
Okay.
I should have had a lot more self-respect, but then after a few weeks, after it was over, unexpectedly, I met Sam through some friends and he was great.
Okay. And I hate to ask this, but like, do you think maybe it was too soon or?
Oh no, like I've been asked. The short answer is yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
I love the ownership of that, by the way.
Straight up. Okay. Yeah.
But I always said to other people, like, did you fall in love when it was convenient or when it just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So hold on. Does that mean you love Sam?
I never said that, but I felt loved and I felt like I was showing him that I did too.
Okay.
And
when was the last time you heard from him?
About a week ago.
Okay. Now, the way this works is that because it's been a while, right? We took a little break from this feature, rested it for a bit. We call, you listen, but you have to stay silent on the phone because we want to get the real answer from this person. So we're going to pose as like, hey, we're not going to pose as anybody. We're going to be ourselves, but we're going to say, hey, you can enter a grand prize draw. And the grand prize, they don't know this, is of course a date with you. So are you comfortable with that? Because sometimes the answers can be a bit harsh.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's make the call.
Hello.
Hi, Sam. It's the Adam Wilde and Jax show. We're conducting a survey, just some questions that we put together on dating, and we're wondering if you'd be answering some of these questions, and we'll put you in a draw for a big prize pack. What do you think?
Sure.
Okay. Hi, Sam. So first question, real quick. Are you single or are you dating?
I'm dating.
Okay. And like, are we talking casual, serious?
I mean, it's pretty early, but I would say it's serious.
Okay. How did you guys meet?
A bit of a weird story. He had just gotten out of a long-term relationship, and I met him through some friends. Again, I mean, it's really early, but I'm excited about him. Okay,
so that's sweet. What's his name?
Derek.
Are you fucking kidding me?
What? Who is talking?
Sam, it's Gavin. Are you dating Derek? Like my Derek?
Gavin, I didn't know how to tell you.
And I know exactly what party you met at. It was Marcy's, wasn't it? You were there together and we ran into Derek. And now you're dating? How nice for both of you.
Gavin, it's nothing personal. It's just that we met at the party and I thought he was handsome and we weren't that serious. So
it's not serious to you. I took you seriously. It appears you didn't take me seriously. Don't worry though. Don't worry. Derek Derek doesn't take you seriously either. It'll take a few months or years, but no, you'll find out.
You're bitter.
Absolutely, I'm bitter. Who wouldn't be bitter? Are you crazy? I know why he's doing this. So it could take something else from me. But we're all done with that. Have a nice life, Sam.
Okay. I don't know who you two are, but please never call this number again.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Take care. That is not what I wanted.
I don't think that's what anyone wanted. I don't know what to say. I didn't even know where to jump in. Most of the time I like to jump in and break it up and calm it down. But I was like, what do you say?
Adam, I thought the lesbian dating world was messy.
Listen, that gay, straight, lesbian, whatever. It's always messy. That was
Happy Pride.
Well, that was a juicy left unread. Time to get to we've renamed our question segment. It's now I'm dying to know. And Mary was like, "What happened to left unread?" You know, Mary. We haven't created that segment yet. Left
Mary,
unread.
that's not what it's called, but you were very close. And we're glad that you're listening.
Melanie says, who is better of the two of you keeping secrets? I don't know.
Adam.
Really?
Oh my God. Why?
Steph, all right.
Why?
Because Jack can't really keep a secret.
That was pretty emphatic,
I'm
Stephanie.
fantastic. I'm fantastic at keeping secrets. I have so many secrets. I have so many secrets that I'm dying to tell. Why?
Well, see, I'm not dying to tell them. That's why I'm better at it.
People don't give you heavy
They don't.
secrets.
They don't. I don't know why.
Actually,
I feel
you
like,
have a lot of my secrets, and you've never told
but
anyone.
we're friends. Like, of
Yeah.
course I do. I don't know why. It's funny. People will tell you anything.
You're a great secret keeper. It's true.
Well, part of it is I forget. That's part of being a great secret keeper is I do forget.
But can I say
Yeah.
it's also that I think like as a gay woman, I respect that you're just, I don't want to use the word simple, but that you're just a straight man. And that like, you're not, it's not.
It's uncomplicated.
Exactly. It's like there's just,
Mhm.
like I can tell you some dark, weird shit. And then you're like, okay. And then you forget about it because you have paralyzing ADHD sometimes. And then you also like, you're nonchalant, which I love. You make me feel less complicated because you live a less complicated life.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Things aren't, I'm sorry I said your ADHD was paralyzing, but
it is.
I respect your simplicity around secrets.
Wow. That's
I don't
great.
know. That was a very
Also, by
long
the way,
of saying
I
it.
did not expect to win that so emphatically. So thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate it. I will not forget that.
You're welcome.
That I will remember.
I can't
That was a
keep
big
secrets.
moment for me.
I can keep secrets.
No, you can keep secrets. It's not that you can't,
but
I feel like Adam
keeps them better.
Not that he keeps them better, but like one day he'll just say something to us and we're like, why didn't you tell us that
You knew
3
that the
weeks
entire
ago?
time?
Yeah. True. Adam's got a lot going on. There's a lot of like F1 and hockey things in his
Just
head.
floating around.
Just floating. He has things to focus on.
I'm wondering, there is something about Jax though, where everybody feels like they meet her and they're like, I'm going to tell you everything. It's like, if you've got a good therapist, a good hairstylist, a good nail person, whatever it is that you just feel like, I'm going to tell you everything.
People tell me dark stuff.
They do.
They do, but you know what? I love to listen.
What do you think that is? Has that always been the way for you?
Yeah, people tell me like heavy, but I like to hear people's stories a
Yeah.
lot. So I think it's a mixture of that where they feel safe, and then also they're like, I gotta get this off my chest. But I like to hear about it. But sometimes it's like I'm at a party and we're in the corner.
And you're too polite to say no.
And I don't know how to
Yeah.
say goodbye or no. And I'm so sober now that it's so dark sometimes. But that hasn't happened in a long time. Yeah, I like to hear people's stories, and sometimes it's heavy. But you would keep their heavy secrets better, I think.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah, I'm not telling anyone secrets.
Katie asks, most embarrassing thing to happen to either of you on the air?
Back when I was working at 101.3 The Bounce in Halifax, we had a live to air segment it was Fahrenheit Fridays, which I think you remember from the Dome.
I did a Fahrenheit Fridays from the Dome.
And there was a fire drill, or like
these were live to airs from a club, by the way.
Yeah,
you used to go to a club as a radio station.
Yeah.
And be like, well, we're live here. Come on down, blah, blah, blah.
And it was like live mixing, like you could hear the club.
Mm-hmm.
And I was board opping. Like, so I was making sure that the club was on the air back at the radio station. And they had like a fire drill, or like somebody pulled the fire alarm. And at that point, you're supposed to like click back into the music. Like the regular music that the radio station plays, but instead I just kept the live stream on air because I panicked, and you could hear like screaming, and then like DJ scratching, and everyone like, what the fuck? Like trying to like run out of the club because it's chaotic in there. And then it's like, you could hear, I forget who was on air at the time, but they're like, 101.3, oh shit, 101. Like they were they were trying to get back on the club. Like, so it was, and then you could hear like, boop, boop, boop. Like
all on the air.
All on the air. So I was DJing a whole new remix. That's the most embarrassing thing.
So
what about you?
Most embarrassing thing, I think there have been a lot. It's usually when you're going to get in trouble. It's embarrassing with your boss, right? Because the audience I'm less worried about. Audiences are far more accepting than your boss ever gives you credit for.
Yeah.
Like as an audience, like, it's funny. People will be like, oh man, a random swear word slips through on the air.
Yeah.
And then they didn't, and then they all clutch their pearls. Like, oh my God, we'll never get another listener again. Well, meanwhile, the previous night they were watching The Sopranos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
people are actually really great. And then sometimes radio programmers forget that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
and I think and so mistakes happen, right?
Yeah.
So I remember I was leaving a job in Calgary and I had to do the morning show by myself because my co-hosts were off. And I had somebody on the air who was talking about their ex-boyfriend and they were mad about their ex-boyfriend. And I forgot to bleep them. And she said something to the effect of, "You motherfucker, I'm going to fucking blah, blah, blah." And it was like back to back F-bombs. One slips through, you can get away with it. Two back, and my boss thought I did it on purpose. Yeah. And I, to this day, I told him, I did not do that on purpose. And he's like, I think he thought it was like my F you to the station as I went. And I had no feelings like that. And I just remember being like, you've just made a very awkward situation worse, Adam.
Yeah.
Like you could have, it wasn't like I meant to, but it was one of those mistakes you walk away and you go, oh, Adam, I hate it. I still hate talking about it.
Adam, when we worked at Virgin together, there was a couple times that we've forgotten to bleep.
Yeah, but our boss there
was
very chill about that.
Yeah, but also
that was one of the there were things that she wasn't chill about.
Yeah,
she was totally chill about that.
I don't know. You know what?
Like, mistakes happen.
And that's the thing. We weren't doing brains. We're radio hosts, not like brains. Like it's not that important.
Right.
It's not that deep. Yeah.
I think the other thing was I was at breakfast television once and I was petting my dog and she was like really into it and she rolled right off the couch.
Can we get that clip? I've seen it. It's so good.
I have to find it somewhere. I don't know. I don't know where it is.
I will find it.
You will find it?
I feel like Steve posted it. Steve Dangle posted it not long ago. It's incredible.
It's very funny.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Like Bindi right off the couch.
Right
it's
off the couch. Yeah.
Hard. Yeah.
Last question. This is more of a philosophical question. Okay, you guys ready for this?
I'm down. Yeah.
Steph, I'm going to need your input on this. Jack Attacks says, "Is good chemistry all that matters for a good relationship?"
No.
Take it away.
Because I think that good chemistry is really lovely and very vital. But I think that for a long-term stable and committed relationship, you need more than that. And I think it depends on what you count as good chemistry. Does that mean does chemistry mean trust? Does chemistry mean humor and joy and I
think in this case it's probably banter, but yeah.
Yeah. No, banter will only get you so far. I can tell you that from experience. It'll only get you so far. And you have to have a lot of other things to make it afloat longer. And deep connection, deep chemistry, deep trust, deep repair. Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Steph, you're in a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Tell us your thoughts
You're
on
the
this.
longest term relationship in this room by far. Yeah.
Wow. True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think good chemistry matters for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you definitely need more to get you through hard situations.
Yeah.
Good chemistry is not going to get you and your partner through the biggest life decisions you're going to make.
Are they resilient? That's a question, eh?
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, anybody can be fun in good times.
Yeah.
In bad, how are they gonna pull through? Because you will see some bad shit together. You will.
And it's hard to,
Okay. So now chemistry is not enough. You need to know how iron-willed they are. You need to I'm gonna friggin' batten down the hatches and get through this shit with you.
How will you do when we're drowning? We're drowning. How will you do? Chemistry can't get you through the depths of hell. It won't.
Anyway,
my poor neighbors.
That's a great way. I think that's a great way to end the show right there.
I think that is a light and joyous way to end. And it's hot out. It's sunny. It's very hot in my home right now, by the way.
No,
Are you
honestly,
warm?
I'm perfectly fine. You seem to be the one that's boiling hot.
It was very cold in Ireland and I haven't gotten used to it. Under my boobs is sweat. I didn't need to tell you that right now. Right. It's very humid there.
I too I sweat there too.
Boob sweat. You know what they call it?
Yeah. What do they call it?
Oh no, that's never mind.
No, you can't say that?
No. Okay. I can't say that. And on that note, guys, have a great week. Love you
later.
so much.
Wait, we're not done.
We're not done. Recommendations.
Oh my God, recommendations.
All right. Jax, do you have one?
No, I have to think of the name first.
All right, so my wife and I have been binging this show outside of the sports that I watch, right? Because I do shows for Formula One and for
Don't plug.
hockey.
Also, take that off the bat. You can't plug your.
Sorry.
You're always plugging.
I'm plugging. I got to plug.
No, that's fair.
But my wife likes to put on certain shows when she's like as background music.
And then I watch it from over her shoulder. Yeah, you don't. You watch with her, Adam.
And this one. It's called Killer Couples. And it's Murder
Oh my God,
Docs.
I haven't watched it yet, but I
And
want
it's like
to.
30 seasons of content too. So it's like you never, ever run out of killer couples.
Wait, do
And it's
they
about
kill
couples who
together or
people.
kill each other?
It can be together. It can be they kill
No.
someone else. It can be a throuple. It can be anything you can imagine.
Just some sort of killing with the couple.
And listen, I am not a big murder doc person.
I love
I
murder
always
doc.
find it funny. Yeah, you and Natalie, neither of you will watch scary movies, but you'll watch people like real stories of people tearing each other limb from limb. I don't understand.
I'm the same.
that.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But anyway, this killer couple show, it gives you a mountain of content to burn through if you're bored. And it's good background. Like if you get too into your work and you miss one of the killer couple stories, that's okay.
A nice light summer view.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. What about you?
Okay. Listen, is it a recommendation or is it just me wanting other people to talk about this with? And just like that.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Okay. Is the new season out?
No, they don't. It's week by week. So I think that, we're going into a week of episode 4 and I couldn't watch the the past 2 weeks because I was away and I couldn't get Crave over there. And I watched them back to back over the last couple of days. And I thought, why the hell am I watching this still?
I've heard it's terrible.
And just like that, I'm disappointed. No, it's terrible, but it's also incredible. It is disappointing, but it's also exhilarating. It is so high budget, but it's also so poorly done. Like it's such contrast all the time. And I sit here and I think we're in season 3. I hate watch it.
You hate watch it.
And I think, why are we doing this? But there I am every Thursday night firing up Crave. I can't stop. It's like a toxic couple, me and just like that, Sex and the City.
Do you watch it, Steph?
I've watched like 2 episodes of Sex and the City and that's it.
It's brutal.
Okay, well, Sex and the City, man. Like
You've watched it all.
I've seen every episode, and then just like that, I have seen, or at least season 1 I did.
Yeah.
Who was what's the redhead name again? Miranda.
What do
Who
you
was
got?
she dating again?
She was dating Shay.
Shay.
Right. The character was Shay.
And Shay was like the comedian, right?
The comedian, non-binary comedian from Grey's Anatomy.
Right. And
It's
so,
just, and even with that sentence, sorry, they just feel like they're trying to solve a lot of problems.
They were like, they took all the issues. Like people were going back through and going, well, Sex and the City is certainly this. It's like,
and
well,
it's
from the
but of its
90s,
time,
man.
Yeah. 90s.
It was from its time. So what they've done is like, let's shoehorn everything into this show. Yeah. But I saw a really good TikTok this morning about it. I'm so glad you brought this up. Is Carrie Bradshaw actually, they portray her as the hero, but is she just the villain? And she is the antagonist, not the protagonist. She's not like the idea that she was a protagonist who had faults rather than she was just the antagonist the entire time is kind of I was like, whoa, that flipped me on my head a little bit because she sucks. And she sucks a lot now. Like she's like, it's even worse now.
Yeah, it's
and then the other person's like, and she can't dress well.
Because they do a lot of, like, the whole show is also like Carrie and her fashion, like it's always nod to like high fashion, et cetera. But some of them, I'm like, are we actually doing this? Like some of her outfit choices. But I also have to say, and I don't think I'm giving away any spoilers, they had Rosie O'Donnell in this season as a virgin lesbian nun. And I thought,
how do you know?
Don't do that to Rosie. Don't, you know what I mean? Listen, because this is the second show that I've seen them bring her into just to be a lesbian. And like, Rosie's a lot of things, but she's worked too hard to be a nun.
You think so?
A virgin
I think she would have
nun
welcomed that role.
It's just, they always put her in these like sad lesbian roles. It's like here's the sad old lesbian. And I'm like,
who nobody has slept with.
Yeah, nobody will fuck. Like, let her be. Like, excuse my language. Let her be. Yeah. So no, that's my recommendation. Is Sex and the City, just like that.
You know what? A good hate watch is a good hate watch. Yeah. All right. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you next week.